Hello everyone! Today we're making this beautiful XXL bag that fits just about everything. And in my next video, we'll use the leftover fabric to make this matching travel pouch. You will find the free pattern in the description below, and I recommend printing page 3 first, just to check that the test square measures exactly 5 centimeters. As always, make sure your printer is set to 100% scale or actual size. And for the orientation, choose Auto, so the pattern is centered on the page. My test square measures exactly 5 centimeters, so I can now print the rest of the pattern. The first 2 pages are for information only, so you don't need to print them. The pattern has only 2 pieces and they'll allow us to make both the bag and the matching travel pouch with no fabric waste. You'll see it's magic. I've chosen a soft suede look fabric for the outside. You could also use a sturdy cotton canvas or even a lovely linen if you'd prefer a lighter version, more like a giant tote bag. For the lining, choose a pretty cotton fabric that makes you smile every time you open your bag. I picked a lightweight linen cotton fabric that reminds me of an English country garden, slightly wild, romantic and untamed. You probably won't be surprised to hear that I have read far too many Jane Austen novels and that I have absolutely no intention of stopping. I've placed my pattern on my fabric rectangles. You'll find all the cutting measurements directly on the pattern. I'm tracing the curve of the handle, the bottom corner, and a few reference marks along the center line, which will be our line of symmetry. Once everything is traced, I can remove my pattern weights and flip the pattern over. Make sure you line it up carefully with the reference marks before tracing the other side. At the top of the handles, we'll trace 2 rectangles using this small template piece, which, hopefully, you haven't accidentally recycled already. And now we can cut through both layers of fabric following all of our markings. Don't forget to cut out the bottom of the bag, and most importantly, do not cut through the center of the piece. If you thought we were finally ready to start sewing, please turn off your machines. I'm afraid we need to repeat exactly the same process for the lining fabric. These 4 large curved pieces from the sides of the handle, both in the outer fabric and in the lining, are not scraps. We're going to set them aside and use them to make the matching travel pouch in my next tutorial. This is a true zero waste pattern, so keep every single piece. For today's bag, we'll be using everything else. The 2 main back pieces, both in the outer fabric and in the lining. The 2 bottom pieces, outer and lining. And the 4 small squares, again, both in the outer fabric and in the lining. Alright, enough for today. Let's blow out the candle and pick this up tomorrow. Good morning everyone! Now if you'd like to take the zero waste challenge all the way to the end, we'll use these small leftover pieces to make a patch pocket complete with a pen holder, a D-ring and a fabric label. Of course, all of this is completely optional. If you'd rather make a simple roomy tote bag, feel free to skip ahead to the timestamp 10:32. I have 2 magnetic snaps and a D-ring. I've also prepared my fabric label already. The tutorial is linked in the video description. And look at this beautiful sunshine flooding my sewing table. Let's start by making a small tab to hold our D-ring, which will sew inside the bag. I'm stitching 2 millimeters from the edge, turning it right side out, and then optionally, although I would say it's highly recommended, top stitching both sides before sliding it through the D-ring. Next, let's make the magnetic closure. You don't have to add one, it's just a nice way to use up the last of your fabric scraps. I'm sewing a small fabric pocket to hold 1/2 of the magnetic snap. It will be hidden between the outer fabric and the lining, and I stitch it with a 7 mm seam allowance before inserting the snap. If needed, you can easily trim the plastic backing. For the visible half of the magnetic closure, I'm rounding the corners slightly, which technically means I am creating a few tiny fabric scraps after all. Let's quietly pretend that never happened. I stitch around it with a 5mm seam allowance, turn it right side out, and once again add a row of top stitching. It's optional, highly recommended, possibly even essential, but don't worry, I won't be checking. So far we have a fabric label, a D-ring and a magnetic closure. What should we do with these last little scraps? Let's make a pen loop. This time I'm stitching along the long edges with a 5mm seam allowance, turning it right side out, and finishing it with one final row of top stitching. Ta-da! We've made great progress. Now let's finish these leftover pieces by making a patch pocket to sew inside the bag. Place your two remaining lining pieces right sides together and stitch them with a 7mm seam allowance. Then press the seam open and take a good look at those lovely flowers, because this is the last time you'll ever see them. They'll soon be hidden inside the pocket. What we will see though is the top edge of the pocket, so that's the part we want to make as neat as possible. Once again, I'm sewing with a 7mm seam allowance, so the right hand edge of the foot lines up with the raw edge of the fabric. And one important warning, never place a hot iron directly into sewed look fabric. Instead, open the seam allowances with your fingers and make a row of top stitching on each side. I'm stitching about 2mm to the right of the seam and then 2mm to the left, trying to keep everything as even as possible. I place the center guide of my presser foot directly over the seam, then move my needle 1.5 to 2mm to the right. If you're sewing sewed look fabric, don't forget to lengthen your stitch. I'm increasing mine to 3mm. And don't forget to keep those seam allowances nicely opened underneath as you sew. About 3 or 4 centimeters below the top of the pocket, I am attaching the D-ring. Then I add the pen loop and my fabric label in exactly the same way. Now I can place the lining piece on top, right sides together, and stitch all the way around with a 7mm seam allowance. Just remember to leave a generous opening along the top so you can turn the pocket right side out afterwards. Trim the corners to reduce the bulk and turn the pocket right side out. Next we'll close the opening. I fold the top edge of the sewed look fabric over the lining and hold everything in place with sewing clips. No pins in this fabric. Now let me show you my favorite trick for perfectly even top stitching. I swap my standard presser foot for my favorite one, the edge stitch foot, also called a narrow edge foot. It's very versatile. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a dedicated video about it. Its secret is this small metal guide in the center. The edge of the fabric rides along that guide, which keeps the stitching perfectly parallel to the edge. I simply move my needle 2mm to the left and the foot does the rest. Alright, for now I've only top stitched the top edge of the pocket. We'll top stitch the other 3 sides once it's attached to the lining, so we'll be sewing the pocket in place at the same time. Now let's move on to the lining. Place the 2 lining pieces right sides together and stitch one side using a 1cm seam allowance. Once the seam is sewn, press it open. You'll now have one large lining piece, so lay it flat with the rectangular openings facing down and position your optional pocket by matching the center seams and placing it 11 centimeters below the top edge. Hold it in place with a few pins wherever you can through the fabric label and the lining fabric. Avoid pinning through the sewed look fabric as the pinholes will remain visible. Now we can stitch the remaining 3 sides of the pocket by top stitching it directly onto the lining. I highly recommend reinforcing the beginning and the end of the pocket opening with small triangles of stitching. They make the pocket opening much stronger. I'm using my edge stitch foot again with the needle moved slightly to the left so I can top stitch at a perfect even distance from the edge. I begin with a few reinforcing stitches, then sew several back stitches across the top corner of the pocket. Next I stitch diagonally back to the start of those reinforcement stitches, So a few more back stitches for extra strength, and then continue top stitching all the way around the pocket. I finish with another little reinforcing triangle on the opposite corner, and now for the best part, let's see what fits inside. A pen, a phone, my lanyard, everything fits perfectly. By the way, the matching lanyard wasn't part of the original plan. I simply couldn't resist making one to match the bag. The tutorial is in the description. Dear friends, the hardest part is done. Now it's time to assemble the bag. Place the two outer pieces right sides together and stitch one side using a 1 cm seam allowance. Open the piece out, spread the seam allowances open, then top stitch on both sides of the seam just as we did for the pocket. The timestamp is 6:27 if needed. Here I have my lining with the pocket already attached, and underneath is the outer bag. The construction is exactly the same for both. So let's stitch the second side again with a 1 cm seam allowance. Turn the bag right side out and top stitch along both sides of this new seam. Since this fabric can't be pressed, it would melt, the top stitching does two jobs at once. It looks beautiful and it holds the seam allowances open permanently. Just be careful not to catch the opposite side of the bag while you're sewing. Keep it well out of the way as you fit the bag under the presser foot. It is finally starting to look like a bag. Now let's sew the bottom. Turn the bag round sides out again and stitch the bottom seam with a 1 cm seam allowance. With the magic of editing, the seam is already sewn. Just like before, open the seam allowances and top stitch about 1.5 to 2 mm away from the seam on both sides. So just turn the bag right side out again and slide the bottom under the presser foot. It may look a little intimidating, but don't worry, you really can reach this area. Let me show you. A little bit of fabric management, making sure the seam allowances stay nicely opened underneath, and the top stitching goes on without any trouble. The lining is assembled exactly the same way, but top stitching is not needed. Instead, press every seam open, including the bottom seam, using a sleeve board. Alright, we only have two seams left to sew, one on each side of the base, using the same 1 cm seam allowance. We are right sides together, of course, and once the seam is sewn, I like to trim the seam allowances slightly to reduce the bulk. I'm also making a small clip into each corner, stopping about 2 mm before the stitching, no closer than that, even though this fabric doesn't fray. Finally, I trim the seam allowance on the bottom panel. This step is important. Now I can fold both seam allowances towards the bottom of the bag and sew a single row of top stitching about 2 mm from the seam. Again, remember that both seam allowances are folded towards the bottom panel and the top stitching is sewn 1.5 to 2 mm away from the seam, also on the bottom side. That way the top stitching catches the seam allowances underneath and keeps them permanently pressed in the right direction, giving the base of the bag a crisp, structured shape. Take your time, this part isn't the easiest, but it's absolutely manageable. I've prepared the lining as well, and if you've chosen to add the magnetic closure, now is the time. Make sure the stronger magnetic side is facing upwards towards the inside of the lining. Then I'll secure the little fabric pouch with a few stitches. We'll do exactly the same thing on the outer bag. This time though, the stronger magnetic side should face the bag itself, not towards us. Now I'll turn the outer bag right side out and place the magnetic tab against my work surface. Then I can slide the lining inside with both pieces right sides together, making sure the pocket and the magnetic snap are facing me. Align the edges and pin them neatly. Ta-da! We'll stitch all along the first side with a 1 cm seam allowance. For the other side there is one small difference. I place my first mark about 10 cm from the end. This is where I'll start sewing. Then I stitch up to a second mark and stop there. I start sewing again at the third mark, about 20 cm further along, and stop about 10 centimeters before the end. And that's done. Now we need to clip the seam allowances along the curves. I'm making small cuts about every 1.5 centimeters, each one around 7 millimeters long, stopping 2 millimeters before the stitching. Careful, no driving off the road here. Now I slide my hand between the outer bag and the lining through the opening we left unsewn and turn the bag right side out. Then I tuck the lining inside, nice and snug. Next step, assembling the handle. Place the handle ends right sides together, making sure the center seams are perfectly aligned. Then add clips or pins where needed, depending on the area, and stitch the two ends together with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. I trim the excess and then open the seam allowances and top stitch on both sides of the seam on the suede look fabric. To finish, we'll top stitch along both sides of the handle to keep the lining neatly tucked inside. That is our little secret garden. Once I've finished the first side of the handle, I sew a few reinforcing stitches at the beginning of the seam, and now we can move on to the second side. This side has 2 openings that need to be closed, and the top stitching will take care of that. Fold the edges of the outer bag and the lining in by 1 centimeter, making sure the seam allowances are opened neatly, then place them against each other. Around the magnetic closure, which is optional, we do exactly the same thing, and this is the very last row of top stitching in this video, so make it count. And there it is, our XXL bag is finished. Look how beautiful it is. I loved it so much that I had to make a second version in this gorgeous rusty orange shade. Voila, friends, remember to keep your leftover fabric pieces. In the next video, we'll use them to make a matching oversized travel pouch. It is a big pouch in which you can carry a few clothes for the weekend, and this pretty matching toiletry bag, which we'll also make in the next video. And look at this beautiful lining. Both the bag and the travel pouch are soft and lightweight, so you can fold them and store them very easily. You may not know this, but my middle name is Poppy. Romy Poppy, a distant cousin of Mary Poppins, and today I'm going to prove it. Phone, pencil, lanyard, card holder / coin purse, laptop, paperwork, Mr. Wrinkles of course, a small pouch, a larger pouch just in case, a change of clothes for my little boy, a warm jacket, because I'm always cold, a water bottle, table tennis bats, because I only pack the essentials, tissues and a snack, a proper snack, and I think that's everything. Oh no, wait, I still need a puzzle, a big pencil sharpener, in case I suddenly feel inspired to draft a pattern. In goes a scarf, because you never know, my laptop charger, and finally, my headphones. Goodness, I forgot the sunscreen. Bye bye. À bientôt.